this evening. We have Laura here. If you have a question on Zoom, please raise your hand. Jeff, go ahead.
Hey Laura, last couple matches, 6 points have come about in fairly dramatic fashion, but that also comes on the heels of what you've talked about, a lot of work and sticking to principles. How does it feel to start getting some reward for that?
Yeah, it feels great. I think we've been working really hard. We've, again, stuck to, like you said, a lot of the things that we really believe in. I thought last week was a really, really big performance and 3 points by the group. I've said this a lot. I think credit to all the staff and all the players that were there in Louisville, because that has always been a really difficult place for us to go to. So to come out of there with 3 points is just, exceptional for us. And yeah, I think I've said it all the way along. I think sticking to our principles, sticking to our process, we always believe that we'll be able to turn the corner. I think the additions that we made throughout the summer have really helped us with that. And I think there's been things throughout the season that have been big turning points for us. And I remember the last game we lost in the league at Kansas, when it was a really devastating defeat because we actually played pretty well. But the scoreline did not reflect that. And since then in the league, we haven't lost a game. So I think that we definitely have been turning a corner for a while. But now, obviously, the last 2 games, we've really got the reward of 3 points, which has been fantastic.
And then just the follow-up on that is, you've been able to get some of those new additions onto the pitch pretty quickly. Could you comment on some of the performances that those new players, including some of the younger ones that are away at the U20s right now, have brought to the club?
Yeah, Jordan Bog's the real deal, so I don't have to say too much about her. She speaks for herself. I just think they've brought freshness and lightness and professionalism and energy into the group. And I think, when results haven't necessarily gone your way, but you believe that you're on the right track, something like that can really elevate you. And I think, each player has brought that in their own different way. I think Coco is an exceptional talent that is a spark, and, she just brings joy when you watch her play, honestly. But we know we've got to manage her a little bit because she came in with a place where she hadn't played for a while. So that's been her journey so far. And then I think Anna's been great for the group on and off the field, just their experience and knowing what to do in the right moments at the right times. And off the field too, just a good energy around the group. And then Jalen brought some good presence. I thought, going back to Louisville so quickly was, I'm sure, challenging emotionally, and I thought she handled that well, kicked a few people while she was there, which I'm sure they appreciated. And obviously we're disappointed not to have her tomorrow. So, I think everyone's brought their own little bit, and Ainsley, our young one, is going to be an exceptional talent, is an exceptional talent, and is going to be a fantastic player in the future. So, we're really happy with what we were able to do in the summer. Some of it will reap the reward of it now. Some of it, we know it may take a little bit of time, but like I've said for a long time, we're in this for the long haul. So even though we may not get necessarily everything we want this season, we know we're setting ourselves up for success in the future as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Steve, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Just looking to tomorrow's game, Angel City's been in a really good run of form lately, too, after having a tough start to the season. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about what you think, what you've seen from them that is maybe sparking their turnaround and what you're going to be looking out for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's similar to us, really. I think they've just clicked a little bit lately. I think some of their players that weren't necessarily getting a ton of minutes earlier in the season are now getting minutes. I look at someone like Masai Bright, I think she's been great. And they have a lot of depth. I think that their older, experienced players are all coming back to health. So we always have good games against Angel City. I really enjoy coming to my second home and being around my family. And I think that this stadium is fantastic and brings a fantastic atmosphere. and it's a place that I always circle on my calendar every year, because I think the games themselves are always exciting, and to play at this stadium is always pretty fun. So yeah, I think they've just clicked. I think that's the biggest thing.
And one more from me. How's the team's overall fitness going into this game? How's your fitness after the stress of watching that game last week remotely?
I think I'm the worst one of the lot, I would say. No, I think everyone's fine. Everyone's doing okay. No real changes to that. Lou came through last week well, so that's a positive. Yeah, I'm just trying to take it easy. Watching the game on TV is by far the most stressful thing I'll ever do. So I don't want to ever have to do that again. Thank you. But I'm definitely on an uphill curve, which is great because last week wasn't fantastic for me.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Steph, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Glad to see you're up and about. I wanted to ask, now that you've had a little more time with Jalen Howell, how you feel that midfield is settling down between Jay and Quinn, especially with Quinn looking, pretty good this season, especially on the defensive end and being a circulator and stuff.
Yeah, I think, last week was the first time that we really got those guys together. And I think just it's a balancing act, right, of Jess, G, Quinn, Jalen, and then what it looks like coming off the bench. I honestly think with Jalen, we haven't scratched the surface, to be honest. I think, just being around her for a couple of weeks now, I think we can really elevate her game, to be honest, which is exciting. I think it's an exciting place to be. I'd worked with Jalen a little bit when I was at the national team, so I knew that she obviously had, some really good attributes, but I think one thing I've learned in the last couple of weeks is that she's an absolute winner, and she really wants to get better. Like, she really wants to be coached, she really wants to learn, she really wants to learn off her teammates. So I think, she's in the right place, to be honest. So yeah, exciting to see how that evolves. Obviously really disappointed that she couldn't push on from last week. I think it would have been a great opportunity for that. But we've obviously, in the 2 weeks that we've had her and been able to get her on the field, we've seen that she can definitely imprint herself in this team moving forward, which is great.
I have a second unrelated question since we're at the end here, which is, Alex Morgan announced her retirement today. Mm-hmm. You're someone who has coached against Alex Morgan in probably every possible season of her, long career. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts or reminiscence about, coaching against a player who's seen so many different, situations and iterations of NWSL.
Yeah, I think it's like, I feel like Pino retiring, Kelly announcing her retirement. I think Alex there's a group of like Alex, Becky, Kristen, Tobin, those guys, where I feel like we're coming towards the end of an era, a little bit, and that era I was present for a lot of it, which I'm quite thankful for. And I think one of the things that I will never ever forget is actually we played Portland when Alex was at Portland, and obviously we hate Portland, and we played them in 2014 at Memorial, and we were on this like unbelievable run, and everyone was going crazy and loving the rain, and Portland turn up, and Alex's name gets announced at the start, and the cheer for her is as big as the whole of our team. And like, for someone from Europe, that's just unheard of, like just would not happen. And I was so pissed off about it. I think the magnitude of who she is and what she had done for the game and continued to do really hit me, that she's probably big. She probably at that time was bigger than the game. And what a burden that must have been to carry for so long. And not only carry it, but then be able to perform consistently at the highest level. And I think, obviously 2015, 2019, like with the national team specifically, she was a catalyst among others into their success. And I think the move to San Diego, I just remember a lot of people like going, is she going to be able to do it? Because, she hadn't maybe had like amazing goal stat seasons really for a while. And she goes to San Diego and absolutely turns that club into something that is overnight, and I'm not giving her the full credit, but I think it's no surprise to me that she's not scoring as many goals this season and they're not at the levels that they were before. And I think that just speaks volumes to who I think she is as a professional, that even I'm sure at the age she's at and where she was probably at mentally thinking about whether this was the right time for her to go, the last 2 seasons in 22 and 23, she's probably had some of her best goal scoring seasons in domestic football than she's ever had. And I think that speaks volumes probably to who she is, that she consistently wants to be the best. And I think the gravity and magnitude of who she was way back at the start of the NWSL, I didn't really understand it, to be honest, until I saw it with my own eyes. And like I said, it pissed me off, but I think it just speaks volumes to the burden that she's had to carry. And I think she's always done it in the right way. She's always fought for the things that are important to her, whether it be equal pay, whether it be, the Yates report and what came from that. She's been willing to stick her neck on the line in multitude of ways. And again, there's a few players in that little group who've done the similar thing. But I think Alex was one of the ones that was always the front face of that, because of what she'd done in the game and the sort of gravity of her stardom was at. So I think that we owe her a lot. We owe her a big thank you to what she's done for the game, and I'm sure she'll continue to really impact the sport even when she's not playing.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Thanks, Steph. All right, looks like that's it for questions. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks, Laura.